Well, Ron, welcome back to the Kansas State Fair, sir.
Glad to be here.
We seem to do this at least once a year,
yes,
chat
we
with
do.
you. You've been doing a lot of community stuff this year. Tell me a little bit about
I try to find
some of your stuff that you've been doing.
Yep. Every year I try to find something to do. In past years we've done things like raise money for the food bank. We've done hospital visits for the patients over at the
That's
hospital. This year I've been teaching out at some master classes out at the HCC.
Yeah.
So we try to find something to do every single year that lets me feel like I'm contributing.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your classes that you've been teaching.
Well, a lot of people don't realize I don't just perform. I'm also clinically certified as a clinical hypnotherapist. My background is in psychology.
Yeah.
So what I do is when I'm on the road, I'll go to colleges, universities, doctors' conventions. I do nurses' conventions where they can get continuing education by learning about the clinical side of hypnosis.
Yeah. Now, what do some of the students that because I'm sure you've probably got people that come see you here and then are in your classes.
Well, it's interesting because they're seeing the pure show side of it here, but when I go to do the classes, I take the elements of hypnosis and break it down fundamentally so they have a chance to play with it clinically.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Now, with the shows, we were talking before we got on the air here about some of the different difficulties that you face as a performer when you don't have a big crowd or you don't have willing participants. I've seen both sides.
Right.
You're a hell of a professional, my friend, because you're able to make both of it work.
Well, the key is I got tired of watching other people that do what I do cancel shows just because they didn't have enough volunteers. Every fair in the country is the same. There's certain days of the week where you're going to have a lot of people and certain days where there's not as many. And it's all about numbers. The more people, the easier it is to get volunteers. The fewer people, the harder it is.
Yeah.
So I just simply decided instead of canceling shows when there's not enough volunteers, I just take the show off the stage out into the audience and everybody can play with it.
That's awesome. So take me through, I guess, the different versions from your big show to like your smaller shows. What do you incorporate? What do you take out?
There's literally three types of shows I do. There's the show where I get a whole bunch of volunteers and a very large percentage of them respond. In which case I create a show that's more focused on a whole bunch of the group elements where everybody's involved simultaneously. Then you'll have those shows where you get enough volunteers but maybe only a handful respond. So when you got a very small number of people on stage, I break it down to individual people. So I do a lot of fun stuff with one-on-one or one-on-two instead of the whole group at one time. The other one is literally doing a bunch of demonstrations and stuff that lets the entire audience do it themselves from their seats and have some fun with it.
That's cool. Now, how long have you been doing this? I know that you've been around the country and around the world for many years doing
I've been an entertainer for 38, 10 years with the Walt Disney Company, and then 28 years at the fair market. Show-wise, I'm in November, right at the end of the year, we'll be hitting close to show 19,000. And I've put literally 600,000 plus people under hypnosis in my career.
Now, one thing that I've noticed, and I notice this every year, and you brought it up yesterday during one of your shows, people think you pay some of these people.
Yeah.
Explain this, because this is just bonkers to me.
Well, the reason that happens is especially people that aren't familiar, the first time they see it, they just can't imagine that you can get people to do the things that they're going to do without paying them to do it. So I always like to say, if you really know what the fair market can afford to pay, if I were to pay even $1 to the 60,000 people that volunteer throughout the country a year, I'd go broke.
Yeah, it's amazing. So tell me about your social media, websites, how people can get hold of you.
Literally, I'm not as big on some as I should be. My biggest fan base and the biggest use is Facebook for me. I have a Twitter account, but I'm not as on top of that as everybody else is. But people can easily reach me by typing in Ron L. Diamond and then friend me, and they can find out where I'm at, pictures from the stage, all kinds of stuff happen with posting on the Facebook page.
Now, with one more question with this whole setup, what does it take as far as like when you come in, that like when did you come in to set up for the fair?
Well, on the weekends, on Friday and Saturday night, in order to get this into the fairground busier later, we changed my 7:30 shows to 8:30, so it's a dark show. So I come in with a full lighting package now, a bunch of theatrical lights, fog machines, the whole 9 yards. And then so we crank. So it takes me about 3 full days to set that up. So I came in on a Sunday before the fair started on Friday.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Roland. It's always a good time to chat with you, and appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, man.
Now,